Twin, Vermilion's downtown theater. Providing entertainment Thursdays through Sundays.
Tonight on Coyote News, an update on the legislature.
Plus, how a local animal shelter is handling adoption shortages. Coyote News starts right now.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
Good evening, I'm Philip Larson.
And I'm Sydney Funderman. We'll hear more about those stories, but first. The State House is passing a bill requiring the display of the state seal or motto in all public schools. House Bill 1198 mandates schools to display the state seal or motto in a prominent location such as the cafeteria or entryway to the school. The bill includes size requirements for the display and how the schools can go about creating it. This includes student design competitions or plaques that are easily read. Proponents of the bill say displaying the seal or motto is about educating students about the state's history. They also say it is about instilling state pride in the students. Opponents of the bill argue state history is already in the education standards, which makes the bill redundant. They also challenge the need for another unfunded mandate on school districts. The bill passed 41 to 27 with extensive debate.
The Senate Judiciary Committee is rejecting a bill that prevents transgender students from using the bathroom of the gender they most closely identify with. The bill has been deferred to the 41st legislative day and is effectively killed. The committee rejected the bill with a vote of 6-1. House Republican Fred Deutsch says he brought the bill in response to the Vermilion School Board's transgender student bathroom policy. Members of the committee took issue with the bill creating a private cause of action for individuals against school districts for any reason. They argue this could be easily abused. A similar bill reached Governor Dennis Dugard's desk in 2016. He vetoed the bill after meeting with transgender students and deciding this wasn't a problem in South Dakota.
Charlie's Cupboard is expanding what they offer to students this semester. Previously, the cupboard was limited to grab-and-go bags because of COVID, but they're now trying to provide more options. A new client experience has brought changes to the cupboard.
Now we've switched to a client choice model where students can kind of shop around a little bit more, take what they need, what they don't need. And even since last semester, we have increased the diversity of our products. So we're reaching out to more cultural markets and stuff like that to meet the needs of our diverse student population.
Charlie's Cupboard is able to offer masks shipped in from Sioux City. The cupboard now has a fridge and freezer to hold fresh and frozen products like ground beef, chicken, and eggs. Pop says the cupboard will need an expansion in the future to follow food safety protocols. Charlie's Cupboard is open every other Thursday in the Continuing Education building and available to all students.
Coming up, traditions are shared during a Lunar New Year's celebration. Stay with us.
The Student Government Association is a great way for students to actually impact on what happens to campus or make a meaningful change through legislation in SGA.
This is Coyote News.
In the winter months, students sometimes report that they feel unsafe walking on USD's campus at nighttime. USD takes many precautions to make sure that students are safe. Most of the campus has lighting and security cameras. UPD officer Armando Baresh recommends that students download the USD Safe app.
If you're walking by yourself at night and you feel uneasy or anything like that, the best thing you can do is download the USD Safe app. And on the Safe app, there are very many options. One of them is a virtual walk home. So the way it works is once you activate it, UPD, who 24/7 monitors the USD Safe app, you'll send a virtual walk home request.
Officer Baresh says that the university and UPD's goal is to keep students as safe as possible. Baresh hosts a self-defense class in the Wellness Center to teach students easy methods for protecting themselves.
This Valentine's Day season, it's not just humans, animals also seek companionship. The Heartland Humane Society in Yankton takes in an average of 50 to 60 animals a month. I went to Heartland last week and found out the shelter is seeking volunteers. Heartland Humane Society shelters a consistent number of animals and find themselves in an increasingly tough spot. With a lack of volunteers, Executive Director Carrie Thielmeyer explains how the shortage is affecting the facility.
I think our biggest challenge has been that Heartland continues to grow, and part of being in the animal welfare business is being asked for help, or to help. For example, on Friday, are pulling 17 animals out of their shelter. So when that happens, it's a huge impact for us, and our need for volunteers in shelter and in fosters is where we're really missing the gap. It's hard to help the amount of animals needing our call if we don't have the number of feet and hands to serve them.
Heartland only takes in the number of animals which can adequately be served, what is called capacity of care. Thielmeyer says helping hands make a big impact.
We can only help the numbers of the volunteers we have, so we take that into an equation. So right now we can serve about 8 to 12 dogs in shelter and about 12 to 15 cats. If we were at full functional volunteers and fosters, those numbers would more than double.
Thielmeyer says there is also a need for foster care placements.
Our foster numbers are incredibly low, and going into kitten season, that's alarming. So if anyone has the opportunity, if it's a landlord approved, to have a temporary animal in their care, we'd love to talk with you about that process. Or if you've got even just 90 minutes a week to spare and like dogs or cats, we'd love to get you snuggling with them.
Heartland has positions available 7 days a week at different times. To volunteer, visit www.heartlandhumanesociety.net. Coyote News' Kate Cromer is live in the muck to find out what it's like to volunteer. Kate?
Thanks, Phil. I'm here live in the muck with shelter volunteer and USD student Jenna Hart. Thank you for being here with us, Jenna. Now, can you tell us how volunteering at the Humane Society has impacted you personally?
Honestly, I think that being at the animal shelter has made a big difference on how I view animals, because being at the shelter, I get to see how animals grow each and every week with their comfort.
Have you ever had to interact with an animal that you were afraid of before your interaction with them?
Not necessarily. I've just done dogs and cats, so pretty easy animals.
Why would you recommend fostering to a college student?
Honestly, I think college students are under a lot of stress too, so fostering an animal can benefit them and the college student at the same time for like a bit of stress relief.
Jenna, thank you so much for being here. Live in the muck, I'm Kate Cromer.
Thanks, Kate. Visit Heartland Humane Society online to find out how you can help.
USD's Asian American Student Association celebrated the Lunar New Year this past weekend. Students and faculty gathered in the Muck Ballroom to celebrate different traditions from Asian countries surrounding the holiday, which started earlier this month. Sioux Falls performers danced to the Lunar New Year, and traditional foods were shared with students.
We hosted the Asian Lunar New Year, which is a celebration of the new calendar year for many Asian countries. We have a lot of Asian Americans at USD, and we wanted a place where all of them could gather and celebrate all their own festivals and just get together.
The association will continue to host campus events.
2 of the 3 SGA presidential candidate teams missed the deadline to declare their candidacy. One candidate says that there wasn't a clarified date announced by the election steering committee. SGA bylaws indicate the due date is 4 Tuesdays or 4 weeks after the teams declare their candidacy. The SGA operations director asked senators to extend the due date for petition submissions. The Senate put it to a vote. The motion failed since a large number of senators abstained from voting and not enough yes votes were cast. The election steering committee says they tried to update their website with a specific due date, but that it's out of their control. The two teams that didn't make the deadline can petition the Senate to override the bylaws, which would give them more time to submit. If the majority votes not to override the bylaws, then the student body will be asked to give an up or down vote for the one team remaining. If a majority votes no, then there will be a special election. The two other teams will then have a chance to join the ballot.
Coming up on Coyote Sports, highlights from the men's and women's basketball games.
In the United States, approximately 6.3 million animals enter shelters every year. Of those, only 3.2 million will be adopted, and over 920,000 will be euthanized. Help put a stop to animal homelessness, save a life, and rescue your next best friend.
This is Coyote News.
This is Coyote Sports. I'm Hannah Gokenauer.
And I'm Michael Stake. We have lots of last week's basketball highlights to share. But first, as cold weather continues in Vermilion, students are finding new indoor activities at the Wellness Center. The facility continues to offer intramural sports such as Wiffle Ball League on Mondays and Wednesdays, indoor soccer on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the most popular league, basketball, which has leagues playing Mondays through Thursdays. This year, however, one new intramural sport has been introduced to campus, pickleball. The new league competes Mondays and Wednesdays. This recent addition has been popular among students and community members, with a total of 23 teams already signed up to compete. Volleyball, 3-on-3 basketball, unified floor hockey, and softball will open their registrations on February 28th. Their seasons beginning next month. While intramurals have started, students can visit the Wellness Center to find other ways to get moving during the winter months.
Coyote News' Landon DeBoer is live in the muck to hear about the Coyote swim and dive team's preparation for the Summit League tournament. Landon?
Thanks, Hannah. I'm here with Kristen Quigley, USD swimmer. Thanks for being here, Kristen. I was wondering how you are preparing for the upcoming Summit League championships next week.
Usually swimmers get to taper for about 2 weeks before champ starts, so we get to stop lifting, we stop conditioning, and we start swimming a little less. Just a lot of emphasis on making sure you're eating well, going to sleep at night, and yeah, just getting all the final touches ready to go.
And how does preparation for, say, a relay team race versus your individual races, how does that differ with the team element?
I think individual races vary a lot by the person. I like to listen to music before I swim, but some of my teammates love to talk to each other. But definitely in a relay, you want to hype each other up. You want to be cheering for the other people. But in an individual race, you're kind of in the zone. Definitely still cheer for your teammates if they're swimming before you, but a lot more focus on yourself.
And how does having Coyote fans in the crowd affect the swim team?
We definitely have a ton of fans, and we have the best parents, and we're lucky that most of the parents are going to be able to come to Fargo, so we're going to have a lot of support there with us, but it is hard compared to a home meet where the pool is really small and we get to see everyone. But I think there'll be a lot of good support, and we can all cheer each other on too.
Well, thank you for being here. Live in the muck for Coyote News, I'm Landon DeVore.
Thanks, Landon. The swim and dive team begins Summit League tournament competition next Wednesday in Sioux Falls.
The Coyotes men's basketball team had a pair of games over the weekend in hopes of moving up the Summit League ladder, but USD stayed put after both games ended with a loss. Saturday was the South Dakota Showdown, and early on the Coyotes kept pace with the #1 seeded team in the conference, SDSU, with the Coyotes gathering 7 more offensive rebounds than the Jackrabbits in the first half. As the buzzer blared for halftime, the players may have left, but the excitement didn't end, as USD student Mary Margaret Bower attempted a half-court shot for $10,000 and it banked off the glass and went in as the SDSU erupted with happiness for Borer. The second half was much like the first, as it was back and forth, but the Jackrabbits were able to build off their 5-point lead at halftime, winning the game by 10, keeping them undefeated in conference play. The Coyotes' weekend wasn't over there. The team traveled to Fargo for a makeup game on Monday. The game was originally scheduled for January 1st.
The Coyotes look to bounce back versus NDSU in Fargo on Monday for a makeup game, and early in the second half, it looked like the balances were tipping in their favor after a 12-point run midway in the second half. The Coyotes led by 15 points before the under-8 media timeout, but that lead was slashed by the Bison, with Ryan Grant scoring 12 points in a 3-minute span. To help NDSU regain the lead, Mason Archambault made a three-pointer with 10 seconds left to tie the game, but the Bison went down the court and made a game-winning layup. The Coyotes are now 6-6 in Summit League play, placing them 5th in the conference. USD will be on the road this weekend to take on Omaha on Thursday and Denver on Saturday.
The Coyotes track and field team hosted the South Dakota Alumni Meet on Saturday, their one and only indoor event held in Vermilion this year. The Coyotes finished on top of almost 20 events, not counting the alumni, who won some events as well. Coyote alumni and current professor Laura Bowman broke a Dakota Dome record in the weight throw. Another Dakota Dome record was also broken. It was in the women's 60-meter dash by second-year freshman Erin Kinney, who now has the 5 quickest times in program history in the event, all 5 recorded this year. The team partakes in the Ichabod Midweek Challenge in Topeka, Kansas on Thursday, and the SDSU Classic in Brookings on Friday.
The Coyote women's tennis team were in Washington over the weekend, where they were slated to play 4 teams in 4 days. But a cancellation versus Seattle made it a 3-match weekend for the team. The Coyotes won 2 of their 3 matches, defeating Eastern Washington and Montana State. Their lone loss on the weekend coming to Gonzaga, putting their season record at 3-5. Summit League Athlete of the Week, Habiba Ali and teammate Estella Yeager both went undefeated in singles play, while the duo of Yeager and Anna Maria Bokina went 2-1 on the weekend, the best record among USD double teams. The team travels to Lincoln, Nebraska to play the Memphis Tigers on Saturday at 11.
The women's basketball team saw their 16-game win streak come to an end on Saturday, falling to in-state rival SDSU in Brookings. After a tightly contested first half, USD was able to walk into halftime with a 2-point lead. But a strong third quarter from the Jackrabbits put South Dakota State up by 9, and they didn't look back. The Jackrabbits handed the Coyotes their first Summit League loss of the season. Hannah Shervin had 21 points and 16 rebounds in the loss, scoring 12 of her 21 points in the fourth quarter. The Coyotes look to bounce back from their first conference loss against Omaha tomorrow at 7 inside the SESC. They'll be playing Denver on Saturday at 1 for their annual Pink game. This weekend is the Super Bowl. After months of games and playoffs, the Cincinnati Bengals take on the LA Rams this Sunday.
That's right, Michael. We asked students which team they think will take home the ring.
Here's what they had to say.
I don't even know who's in the Super Bowl. It's not the Packers.
Joe Burrow was a fluke. I got the Rams by a million.
I think the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl.
This is an easy question. I got the Bengals winning.
Oh, Bengals by far. By far.
Probably the Rams. They probably have a very solid defense, and honestly, Matt Stafford deserves a Super Bowl.
Oh, Bengals. I think the Bengals win. I'm going for a Midwestern team.
The Bengals.
The Rams, for sure.
To be honest with you, I don't even know who's playing.
I was a Chiefs fan, so a little sad, but I really like Matthew Stafford, so I'm going to go with the Rams.
I think the Bengals are going to win. I think they're a really young team, and they got a lot of spice to them, and they're going to be able to pull through. They really worked hard this year, especially, to get their way to the playoffs.
I don't really know. I don't really care because I'll be at work anyway, so.
Well, I really like Tigers, and I'm going to root for the Cincinnati for this one.
Even though I'm kind of upset about the Chiefs, I'm going to have to say Bengals. That's all for your Coyote Sports.
Coming up, students tell their worst first dates. Stay tuned.
about the International Club is the different events they hold within the school year. My particular favorite is definitely Festival of Nations.
Peace out. Except for you. Wait,
This is Coyote News.
With Valentine's Day just around the corner, students are making plans for the occasion.
We asked students what their worst idea was for a first date.
Here's what they had to say.
I don't know, I'm really bad at roller skating, so that.
Probably going to Chili's. It's got a really bad after effect, if I'm being honest. So if you plan on hanging out after, it's going to be a bad deal.
A 3 a.m. you up text would kind of suck, so that.
Probably making her pay.
I don't know. I feel like movies are kind of a bad first date just because you don't talk and it's like you have to talk to get to know the person.
I'd probably have to say taking her to donate plasma with me.
When they talk about their ex-girlfriend the entire time.
Taking her to a cheap buffet.
Honestly, I think staying in is a really bad idea. I think you should go out to a restaurant or something, get to know each other.
Probably at the Muck.
Probably going to a water park, in my own opinion.
Ice skating.
Well, I think either a casino or the bank.
Taking your date to the Mutt cafeteria. I had that happen to a friend. He took her to the Mutt cafeteria and was like, yeah, I'll just use a guest swipe on you.
Not really doing anything and just having no idea what you're gonna do going into it.
Well, Sydney, I'd have to say choosing to go to an expensive restaurant and forgetting to check your balance so you can't even pay, which has definitely never happened to me.
You know, Phil, I would have to say that I would not like to just go to a movie. I would like to go out and do an activity so we get to know each other more.
I hear that. A man in Port St. Lucie, Florida says he jumped from a stolen car seconds before it was hit by a train and the car was sent flying into a nearby home. Authorities say that there were sleeping residents inside the home during the crash, but they were not injured and the man was later arrested. The 38-year-old faces charges of grand theft and criminal mischief, and additional charges are expected. The homeowners were fine, but the explosive sound of a driverless car smashing into the side of their home was clearly jolting, the sheriff's office said. Police say the man claimed he stole the car in a good faith effort to search for his own vehicle after leaving a bar early Saturday. Instead, he got stuck on the railroad tracks in the path of an oncoming train. After the crash, the sheriff's office says the man tried to steal a forklift from a nearby fruit stand, which he also vandalized. That's it for Coyote News.
Be sure to pick up this week's issue of the Volant to read about the dispatch of the Center for Diversity and Community.
Listen throughout the week on 91.1 KAOR for news updates and sports coverage.
Follow us on our social media pages at USD Coyote News, and we are now on TikTok. This is it for Coyote News. Have a great night.